Hello again, my children. I'm Covenant Ironface and my partner, Drachma Caress. Welcome to another lovely episode of Reaction Shot. We went to go see Mockingjay.
Part 2.
You said you probably hadn't seen the first one.
I had seen the first two movies of this set, but I did not see Mockingjay Part 1. So I went into this kind of blind. I knew the story overall for, Catching Fire, but I was missing a section movie-wise, and honestly, I haven't read the books. So, but even knowing that, I feel that things were pretty well summed up, even with a section missing. As usual, we're going to break everything down as before. Now, seeing as how this is, well, it was going to be a trilogy. I guess it's, what do you call it, a quadrilogy?
Quadrilogy, yeah.
Quadrilogy. Seeing as how we've got pretty much the same characters overall from all the movies, there wasn't so much in development, but that doesn't mean these characters are bad. I mean, these are the same characters you expect, and of course, it goes pretty well along with our story and everything, which has been building up to the movies as well. In this one, the final part of the Catching Fire, we're basically picking up where we left off with the last movie, which, like I said, I haven't seen. We assume. The beginning was a little confusing because I had missed it, but after it was explained to me, everything makes sense. And as we've been building up to the last movies, we've been coming to the final conclusion that there's, what's the word, not a mutiny, a revolution.
Yes.
A mutiny! Katniss Everdeen, our main character, and several of the other victors from the previous Hunger Games have been, like I said, Catching Fire earlier, that was the second one, are helping lead a revolution with the leader of Section 13, Miss Coin. Weird name. And it basically, it turns out that in protecting his people, as you've probably seen from the trailers, Snow turns most of the city into a Hunger Games arena. Tons of traps, running through ridiculousness. In addition to that, they have to be fighting the Peacekeeper soldiers and the people of the capital city. I don't want to spoil too much. Honestly, part of the thing that was supposed to be shocking, I expected it to happen. But it does go through with the revolution and come to a very satisfying end for that, but her story feels unfinished, kind of. I don't know, I didn't like the ending. But anyways, enough of our storyline through that without giving up too much. We really want to talk about our characters.
No, I really don't. To me, there are three main characters. Katniss Everdeen, of course. I mean, most of the movie is centered around her. But there's also President Snow and, like he mentioned, Miss Coin. These are the three central figureheads, and this movie has definitely gotten a lot more politic-y than the previous movies. I really don't like Katniss Everdeen. She takes the entire movie to finally have an emotion. This entire time, wars going on, explosions, people dying, and she barely ever cries or gets sad or angry, or when there's a wedding that shows up in the trailer that you see.
Not happy.
She is never happy. She never shows an emotion. Until the final, last 5 minutes, she finally has an appropriate emotion to what's going on. And that's really what I want to complain about, because the entire time it's like, do you do anything?
What's worse than that, I hate to interrupt, is she has an appropriate emotion, but to an inappropriate situation. And she ends up, sorry for the spoilers, but she ends up yelling at a cat.
Her sister's cat, yeah.
But it's
she finally gets sad. She finally breaks down and cries, and it's finally appropriate. And it finally looks real. So good on that, one scene of emotion. But what I really want to talk about is Snow. as people who know me, I really enjoy the villains, but I especially enjoy it when you see enough of the villain that you kind of see what they're trying to do. And you see enough of Snow, both in this movie and in the previous ones, that he's clearly trying to manipulate Katniss. And you see the maniacal way he does that. And that really pays off more for the movie than Katniss ever does. And like I said, Miss Coin is also kind of a main character, politic-wise. But she's the opposite. She doesn't show off enough that we really know what she's talking about or what she's feeling. We know what Snow is doing. We know why he's doing it, and we know how he feels about doing it. We never get that with Miss Coin. Another thing is the minor characters, and they are the ones that really bring this movie together.
Yeah, a few of them, even without much in the way of scenes or what's going on, really do become important. A sort of major / minor character you want to look at, the other Victor from Katniss's sector. He, if you've watched the last movie, you know that they finally rescued him. And he spends a lot of time kind of swapping back and forth, but he's believable for the most part between basically losing his mind and doing his best to try and be a good friend and a good soldier. And in the end, he ends up being a good person. The rest of them are all very minor characters, to say the least. They don't even have much importance. Even the other Victors seem kind of like, hey, look, I was important in a previous movie. But she has a team that she's working with, and they all seem very emotional. Some of them are friends, some of them are family, the twin sisters. I don't remember what sector they said they were from. But they're the ones that really bring this together. You kind of see what it would really be like to fight in a war in the streets. Obviously, without game maker traps and stuff, you wouldn't see in that real life. But it's still the same kind of thing, street-to-street combat in a city, rather than the other movies left it more of a natural, rural environment versus the urban, when the arenas for the Hunger Games. And the characters all feel like soldiers, even though they're just as important as soldiers, and some of them die without ever even saying a line.
Well, one didn't have a tongue, so...
Well, I don't blame him. That was good in his character. Speaking of which, I actually like that guy. He had his brother there as well, and he was very emotional, had a very good connection with the guy playing his brother. And those were another set of believable characters. The twin sisters, the siblings. A couple of them were just, I'm a soldier, so I didn't really like those. But overall, you've got to have one, what's the proper term, jarhead in the group, who's just like, I do what I'm supposed to do, sir. We follow orders.
But, in the streets, this movie has a huge contrast between the beauty of what the capital was supposed to be like previously, contrasted with, the destruction of what's going on in the revolution. And that seemed so awesome to me. It's just, this entire movie is so awesome looking. I very rarely had anything to really nag about it. It's just, even when they're fighting underground, it still looked like a sewer, and the tight shots and the quick cutting, it really believed like they were actually fighting down there. Even though, some of the tunnels kind of looked like Battle of Moria. I don't know if you heard me complaining about that.
I didn't hear that.
But most of this movie takes place in this destroyed capital, and it's really awesome. And then you get to the president's palace, which is pristine as hell. It's like, oh, we hate you, bastard!
The president Snow even makes a comment about that during the movie. They're here to take our way of life because they don't know the luxuries that we have. And along with the scenes, there was part of this in the trailer, so I'm not going to ruin too much, but I think one of the most powerful scenes is actually near the end, and it shows Katniss walking like through an opening, and this just crowd of people starts wandering behind her. That's a really good group. What you don't see in the trailer is they pan out, and it's this epic stadium, like in the middle of the city. There are thousands of people there, all following this one person. And it kind of shows what a powerful symbol that she is, and it really delivers the entire message of the movie right there.
Yeah. Overall, I don't know. I'm still kind of on the border of this was kind of good and kind of meh. The main character really detracts a lot, but I think the sub-characters really make up for it, and the beauty of the scenes really make up for it.
The sub-characters felt very, very more powerful. I have to agree that for some parts, Katniss just felt dull. I would have to say it's... If you've watched the previous movies, then take what you like from the previous movies. Did you like the previous movies? Then you'll probably like this one. Did you not like the previous movies? Then I don't think you'll like this one. I mean, it's just along the same lines. You wouldn't watch it if you didn't like the previous movies anyways. But a good thing to note, if you don't know, go check out the previous movies. I felt a little lost in the beginning, like I said, because I hadn't watched part 1 of this. And I think that would add more to it, from my point of view. And then you'll know, I mean, if you like part 1, well, you'll probably like part 2. So I'm going to have to hit it sort of on the fence here for that. Go see it, don't go see it. That's one that you're really going to have to decide. I think it would be worth it at least to maybe pick it up and rent one night, or buy a copy when it comes out to DVD. If you like the previous movies, then go see it in theater.
So on the fence and a little bit in the good area. I mean, it was a decent movie. It wasn't horrible as some of the movies we've seen recently. So yeah, I'd go ahead and say check it out if you're willing to. Previous movies as well.
Next up, now we've got Thanksgiving coming up, which kind of throws a wrench into the plans sometimes. Depending on where we're at with family, we wanted to see that Frankenstein.
Victor Frankenstein with Daniel Radcliffe and James McAvoy.
Yes. Now, we don't have an exact time set yet. The current plan is to either try and catch it before Thanksgiving or catch it after on that Friday. We'll probably get back to you with more, probably a review about it, and then you'll know. Yay!
Yeah. So, we'll see you then.
Bye-bye.